Skip, remind you now, he only weighed 144. So he was basically 10 pounds, basically under the weight. But he wiped it out.
A much smaller guy just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Have to start playing catch up in rounds 4, 5, 6. Believe me, by the 7th round, Canelo is going to be a little muscle fatigued, right? We've seen that.
Shannon Sharpe issued a strong warning to Canelo Alvarez about facing Terence Crawford, suggesting that the fight could end disastrously for Canelo. He emphasized Crawford's superior speed, skill, and stamina, implying that this bout might be more than just another loss. It could potentially signal the end of Canelo's dominance in the boxing world. Canelo himself has revealed that he now has a retirement plan in mind. Reflecting on his 20-year career as a professional boxer, he admitted that after so many years, in the ring, the desire to explore life beyond boxing has grown stronger in sometimes. He simply wants to do something different with his time.
Has retirement ever crossed your mind? Have you ever thought about that?
I always say like 37 is good time to go. It's not because I can't be in the boxing anymore, but sometimes you need to do something else. So I'm being in October I turned 20 years as a professional fighter. So it's meant a lot of years. So
Eddie Hearn, the longtime promoter and close insider to Canelo Alvarez's career, has stirred fresh speculation by stating that this upcoming fight with Terence Crawford could be Canelo's final bout. According to Hearn, the Mexican superstar may be nearing the end of his legendary journey, and the Crawford challenge could serve as his ultimate test and his exit. This isn't an offhand comment. Hearn has been with Canelo through multiple career phases and understands the immense physical and mental toll boxing has taken on him. After nearly 2 decades in the professional ring, Canelo may be seeking closure, ending his career against one of the most technically brilliant boxers of this era.
Do you see that fight now differently based on how Canelo performed against Skull Eddie?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah? Oh, wow.
It wasn't just the fact that he couldn't cut the ring off. I just feel like the timing now, the age, Canelo is amazing. I mean, not just because of his ability and what he's accomplished, but the fact that he still has the desire for those training camps and those fights. But I just feel like that desire might be fading a little bit. Not because of his love, but just because of age and life. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, the Crawford fight will definitely get him up for it. But I was actually watching that fight thinking I wouldn't be surprised if he retired and actually didn't fight Crawford, because I don't think he'll want to lose to Crawford, a much smaller guy, just because he's at the end of the road. But the fight's so big and the money's so big, he's going to have to take it. I bet he retires after that fight.
Canelo's recent performances, particularly against John Ryder and more notably William Skull, have raised red flags for Eddie Hearn. He observed signs of aging, slower combinations, reduced head movement, and a noticeable drop in punching power. The explosiveness that once defined Canelo's mid-career appears to be fading. Bernie, a close member of Crawford's team, expressed immense confidence in Terence's ability to defeat Canelo. He didn't just call Crawford great, he called him a legend. What's more surprising is the shift in fan sentiment, especially among Mexican supporters. While Canelo remains a national hero, even some of his loyal fans are starting to side with Crawford, not out of disloyalty, but out of admiration for skill, hunger, and momentum. Bernie emphasized that Crawford's performances have earned global respect. Even Canelo's own camp acknowledges how dangerous Bud is. When admiration crosses borders like this, it speaks volumes about the legacy Terence Crawford is building.
Yeah. Now, the man said, now it's both good. Say, not going to beat me. He said, I'm telling you, I guarantee I'm going to beat you. So, you know what I'm saying? That's how Crawford is. That's how he feel. He believe in his heart. And you could tell it. You could look him in his eyes. You know what I mean? And a lot of people believe that Crawford going to win this fight and a lot of Mexican people.
Yeah, they supporting him. They supporting
A lot of
him.
Mexican people, you know, so they got their formula why Crawford gonna beat him. But it's a tremendous fight. I think Canelo, like I say, is a living legend. You know, and everything that he do. A lot of people don't like him. A lot of Mexicans don't like him, but I love him. I think he's he does everything good in the ring. I think, you know, from swag to everything. I just love Canelo. I can't take it away from him. You know, he had them little allegations and everything.
Yeah.
And that's a damper on him, but I try not to focus on that. You know what I mean? I know he got in there with the baddest guys, the toughest guys, and he came through with flying colors. So I give him all the credit going up there fighting Bivol when nobody knew who Bivol really wasn't paying attention to him. That man was a 25-year-old champion, the reigning champion, title defenses under his belt, and young and good. And Canelo fought him. So, you know what I'm saying? That was a challenge. You feel me? Had the height, had the reach, had a lot of, you know what I mean? So I give Canelo none but credit. I thank him for allowing us to get this fight. And you see what Crawford said. I didn't get to get, Canelo got to fight these guys with the names. I didn't necessarily get to fight all the guys with the names when I wanted to, but I got him.
Yes.
And that's the how it comes around full circle. And when God got it for you, nobody can be against you. And so I think he's the most deserving fighter of that outside of Benavidez. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Besides that, but Benavidez still doesn't bring the super fight dynamic to it.
Yes.
It's a really good fight with Benavidez, but this is a super fight.
Exactly. We
have legends fighting. David Benavidez has yet to become a legend. He's still growing in the sport.
Absolutely.
Crawford is a legend. 14 years in the sport, 10 years as champion, 11 years going on. You understand? Undisputed 2 different times, fighter of the year, all those different things. So, like I say, and the mystique of Crawford is legend in itself. The mystique of Crawford. So, I mean, you know, so it's a super fight. Again, I thank Canelo Alvarez for taking the fight.
Former middleweight champion Kelly Pavlik offered a blunt, honest assessment of the matchup. Contrary to popular opinion, he described Crawford as the stronger, more effective fighter in the ring. Pavlik emphasized Crawford's raw talent, tactical control, and physical strength. More revealing, however, was his critique of Canelo. Pavlik believes Canelo has recently fought cautiously, not to dominate or knock out opponents, but simply to avoid losing. He argues this style won't be enough against someone as hungry and dynamic as Crawford. Pavlik paints a clear picture. One fighter climbing toward greatness, the other trying to hold on.
Class, and he's a great fighter. I mean, that's it. Crawford is so talented. He's got so much ability in boxing, his boxing ability. And he's a bigger guy too. He's almost every bit as big as Canelo, right? So that's what makes it tough. Like, yeah, Canelo's used to fighting guys coming down from 200 probably, you know, at light heavyweight. And Crawford ain't. But it's just too hard to pick on that because of Crawford's ability and boxing skills. I'm not going off of Canelo's last fight. You know, the guy he was fighting was in survival mode pretty much. He was just fighting not to get knocked out. When you fight a guy like that, you're not going to look good, right? I don't care what anybody says. When you fight a guy that's running around trying to survive, it makes it hard. So I don't go off of that, but this fight is going to be interesting. I mean, I would almost have to kind of lean with Canelo, but I'm not making that pick. Just saying, guys, so nobody come at me. I'm going to sit back and enjoy this one. Not worrying about anybody, you know, saying, hi, you're wrong or talking. But it'll be a good one.
Renowned trainer Robert Garcia added fuel to the discussion, agreeing that Canelo has noticeably moved away from his once aggressive knockout style. Garcia put it bluntly, Canelo is tired. Having fought professionally since his teenage years, Canelo has carried the burden of boxing for nearly 20 years. The precision and calculated risks of his earlier career have given way to a more cautious, energy-saving style. Garcia wasn't criticizing, he was acknowledging the physical. Toll Canelo has been through wars, carried the sport on his back, and now the cost is showing inside the ring.
Why is it that Shiraz was able to knock out Berlanga, but not Canelo?
It's because Canelo doesn't go out for the knockout anymore. Canelo's just now, you know, we've seen in the last few fights, he just does enough to win. He did the same again, Munguia. He dropped Munguia, but then they didn't want to finish him. Charlo, Berlanga. He wants to cruise through the fight. You know, he's up there, you know, in not in age because he's only like 33 or 34, but he's
fighting since 15.
He was 15. a lot of training camps, a lot of sparring matches. So all that takes a lot out of your body. So he takes care of his body too. So he doesn't go all out because he doesn't want to just finish his body. He knows he still has a few more years and a few big fights where he wants to take care of himself. And not punish himself too much. That's why he hasn't been able to knock those guys out. Not because he can't. I think he just does enough to win. I think Shiraz also has great power, man. I think Shiraz has the power that nobody believed he had.
Popular boxing analyst Showbiz, the adult, called the Crawford versus Canelo bout potentially historic. Beating Canelo, one of boxing's biggest global stars, would elevate Terence Crawford to legendary status. This fight, he argued, is no longer just about titles, it's about legacy. However, Showbiz also warned of the double-edged sword that comes with greatness. If Crawford dominates too convincingly, conspiracy theories could arise. People may question how a smaller fighter could outclass someone like Canelo. In the age of social media, greatness often invites suspicion. The bigger the win, the louder the noise. For Crawford, this fight could be both the pinnacle of his career and the beginning of a narrative war.
Is going to attempt to do something that is so incredible, so magnificent, so amazing as a fighter and for his legacy, and trying to beat Canelo Alvarez, the 168-pound undisputed champion. My fear is if he does that, if he accomplishes that, if he is able to succeed in accomplishing such a magnificent goal, people will immediately discredit Terence Bud Crawford and his victory, calling him a drug cheat.
Veteran sports commentator Stephen A. Smith offered a direct prediction. He sees Terence Crawford winning by decision. Smith highlighted Crawford's discipline, ring IQ, an ability to control the tempo wall factors that could earn him a unanimous victory over the bigger but slower Canelo. He noted that while Canelo remains dangerous, his output in recent fights has dipped. Meanwhile, Crawford thrives in long, technical battles that go the full 12 rounds. A decision win, Smith argued, would not only solidify Crawford's status as the best active fighter, it would cement his place among the greats of the modern era.
You got a love for boxing.
Yes,
Who gonna win the fight, man? That's coming up. The biggest fight in boxing.
Crawford.
Huh?
Crawford. I'm not hesitating. Crawford. I'm not even hesitating. Crawford.
You gonna stand on that all the way to September 13th?
I love Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo. Crawford will beat Canelo by decision. I can't see anybody knocking out Canelo Alvarez. But I do believe that if you can box and you can move, that you can beat Canelo. You can outpoint him.
That's right.
When I think about Canelo, one of the things that I don't like about Canelo, despite his greatness, and a neck as wide as Broadway for crying out loud,
Right.
It's like almost every shot has to be a power shot.
It's a power shot, yeah.
That's not beating Crawford. I will confess, I think Gervonta Davis's trainer, Cal, I think he said this. He said Crawford could find himself in trouble if he decides to engage with Canelo, because Canelo is the naturally bigger, strong fighter. And I don't care that Crawford's gotten bigger, and I don't care that Crawford's gonna go in there just as big as Canelo. Canelo is accustomed to fighting at the weight, and Crawford is not. And Canelo is a genius in this regard. You don't see him show up for fights not ready. He's always ready.
always prepared.
He's always ready.
He's
always prepared. So I think he's the slower fighter, though. And I think that Crawford is brilliant as a boxer. And I think that between switching to conventional and southpaw, using his jab and movement, I think that Crawford is going to outpoint Canelo because he's faster. But I don't think he's gonna knock him out.
Terence Crawford himself spoke confidently ahead of the fight, acknowledging Canelo's size and pressure tactics, but showing no signs of concern. Calm and composed, he expressed full readiness for every scenario. His attitude reflects both respect for Canelo and belief in his own adaptability. It's this balance of humility and unwavering focus that sets Crawford apart.
Man, I'm feeling good. You know, work has been going great. And, you know, fight time, we're going to be prepared to put on a great show for you guys.
Has this been in your mind? We've been talking about it forever. Did you feel like this was eventually going to be the case, that you and Canelo were going to eventually get in there?
Not at all. Not at all. I didn't, think it was, a fight that he wanted. So I didn't really know. But, thanks to Turkey, Al-Sheikh, he made it possible. And, we got one of the biggest fights in the last decade, happening at Allegiant Stadium, September 13th.
When you get in there, what do you expect? Everyone's going to make, a size difference, but what do you expect when you get in there with Canelo?
I'm expecting Canelo to be Canelo. He's the bigger man. I expect him to, box a little bit, but I also expect him, to try to walk me down and be the bigger man. So, we expect everything in there.
Antonio, another key member of Team Crawford, revealed that Terrence already has a fully mapped out game plan to exploit every weakness in Canelo's current form. Said Crawford is preparing not just physically, but strategically, knowing when to switch gears, counter, and apply pressure. Still, Antonio gave Canelo credit. He admitted that Canelo still has a real chance if he fights with the urgency and explosiveness he showed against Caleb Plant. That version of Canelo, aggressive and relentless, might stand a better shot. Anything less, and Crawford's execution could be too much to handle.
Terrence got to be Terrence, bro. He's a real deep thinker. He processed fights like nobody else. And he's processed this Canelo fight. He's seen it. He went through it 2 or 3 times already. He knows how this ends. You can tell the way he shadow boxes. He visualizing Canelo being right there in front of him. You understand? Look at the movement. That's all you got to do. Look at the movement. And that's the type of master boxer that Canelo is going to be facing. And the only thing I say is Canelo hasn't faced an opponent like this in a long time. You know what I mean? I think Canelo's going to have to go back to the Caleb Plant fight and look that good, that active, that, you feel me, moving with that type of grace to beat Terrence Crawford. Because weight ain't going to make the difference. It ain't going to be the weight. It's going to be the skill set.
In a surprising twist, Canelo himself offered high praise for Terrence Crawford in a recent interview, placing him above some of the most iconic fighters in boxing history. This level of respect means a lot, especially coming from someone who's shared the ring with Floyd Mayweather and worked with legends like Oscar De La Hoya. It suggests that Canelo doesn't see Crawford as just another opponent. He may view him as a true successor to boxing greatness. His words also hint that he knows this fight will be unlike anything he's faced before.
The best fighter he has ever faced. He says that he believes that Terrence Bud Crawford is better than legendary Hall of Famer Bernard Hopkins, Oscar De La Hoya. There's no shot there. Tito Trinidad. But the shot came in where he said that he believes he is definitely better than Russian superstar undisputed light heavyweight world champion who beat Canelo Alvarez, I thought, pretty handily, 9 rounds to 3. I thought 10 rounds to 2, but 9 rounds to 3 at worst. He beat Canelo Alvarez in Dimitri Bivol. And then he said that, but this is not a shocker, he said this before, that Terrence Crawford is better than Floyd Mayweather. Now, I personally don't believe that. I believe that Floyd Mayweather is a better fighter. But nonetheless, Terrence Crawford is a great in his own right. But this just goes to show that Canelo Alvarez has learned something, a thing or two from Floyd Mayweather. He showed some things he took from Floyd Mayweather from their fight, which he lost every single round to a 36-year-old going on 37-year-old Floyd Mayweather. In 2013, he lost every single round to Floyd Mayweather, right? Floyd Mayweather always build up his opponents. Always. Okay? He always build up his opponents. He never tear down his opponents. He learned, if you tear down your opponent, how you get credit for your opponent for the win.
If he's able to be aggressive, not be affected by Bud's punches, and just keep, attacking and imposing that will on him, and then Bud being the dog that he is, and just saying, you know what, I'm gonna go, I'm letting loose. I think that can change the effect on Bud, and I think that will be the way that Alvarez can win that fight.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so what do you think? Obviously, if Bud remains slick, what outside of that could cause Canelo to